So you can use this on hey folks. So yeah, that's so last week, Caleb, when you tried, did you get there and then like it failed eventually, or you know
where? What are you talking about?
Well, so like it comes up and
last week it recorded fine. It recorded, but then it didn't save to Dropbox. Is that what you're talking to?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Interesting. So did it record locally, or it just
didn't save anywhere?
It said it recorded, but it didn't record.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So we're giving this a go, mostly because like I know I'm going to miss some later on, and make sure we got somebody else that can do this. All right. So we started the recording because we were talking about finding Creative Commons music. So what I am going to do here is I am going to attempt to share my screen. It's been a while since I've done this. Oh yeah, it's in the like over here by the chat button. Look, I like the fact that Jitsi is open source and like it works, but like, dude, the UI is terrible. The UI is just like absolutely horrendous. Like the open close chat and the share your screen buttons look exactly the same. And then like the stop recording button is in the middle of all these other damn buttons. I don't know. It's just a horrendous UI. I'm just throwing that out there in case there's any Jitsi developers out here. Yeah, like if you haven't got that feedback, I'm sorry, it's terrible. Okay. So I don't know what, so can everybody see my screen except maybe not Al, because he's on. Can you see it?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. I know with like the mobile stuff, some weird stuff happens. Okay. So what I've done here is in the Google search box, I've just typed in site:bandcamp and then some rights reserved. The same thing works in DuckDuckGo. And then actually you can do the same thing in Bing, I believe. Oh, that's a nice picture that Bing has there on the, but the some rights reserved is the key. And I would play around with which search engine you're doing, because like they like to play around with how they do things. And Google is not as good as they used to be. It's for Bandcamp. I don't know if Bandcamp changed some things, but you can see here that when I do this search, Google only finds about 1,100 results. Whereas when I do this search on Bing, I get 1 million results. Now, are the results on Google better than the ones on Bing? I'd have to dig in to find that out. So, I mean, it is going to take some exploration. DuckDuckGo is not telling us how many that we found, but the money with these searches is twofold, and so we'll just do this on Bing since it's giving us more results. So you go up here to any time, and you can just keep the same page, and you just mark. Like, yeah, it's a future date, but you can mark 12/31. Maybe Bing's not going to let us do it, actually. So on Google, you can search future dates. So on Bing, unfortunately, you have to do that. So in this case, we're searching some rights reserved on Bandcamp. And we've got these ads, which are annoying, but now we're getting 16,000 results for things that have been released in the last month and a half. So this sounds like it's doing like the actual, this is like a good, I think this is accurate as to what's been on, what is actually on Bandcamp. So let's open one of these up and see what we're looking for. Why are we searching for this some rights reserved? That's because when we come in here, this is the search string that we're looking at. Now, what you'll see here is that this was actually released in December. Now, why is it showing up because we did this? That's because presumably, well, two things could have happened. One, they released it somewhere else and the actual original release date was December 26th. So if you had like a old release of a band from like the 80s or the 70s, you could release that on Bandcamp and you could put the actual release date here. What this is doing is searching what is like when it actually went on to Bandcamp. So that's what's being searched here. Now, interesting thing here is we're seeing January 26th, 2021. So it might be that they uploaded that on this date, and that was the date that, because it's an album, not their main page. And so this may have been when it was actually uploaded. And then they were like, oh, actually, it was December. Although this to me looks like a typo, because they both happen to be the 26th. So the band might have uploaded it sometime in January, and they put a 126 on there, and that's what was showing up, and that's what is cached on Bing. But then they went back later and they were actually, we released this in December. So so you do have to look even, on these. So that was a fail, sadly. And so we've got another one on here. Let's find out what's going on. You can see this one says January 25th. And then, yeah, so I think these are actually the cache. I don't use Bing very much. I think these are actually the cache dates, because this date doesn't line up with that either. So, yeah, so Bing is picking up a lot of results that are from last year during this search results. So you can just look at this one. This doesn't work, although some of the stuff that these have been showing up. Well, actually, we haven't done the so on Bing, you'll notice it was just like right up here. We didn't have to do anything. But on Google, what we have to do is go to Tools, and then we get this pop-up thing, or not really a pop-up. It's like a pull-out sort of thing. And then
oh, that's great.
in here, what we can do is actually just type in a future date. And we don't have to change it. So we can use this search all year. And so you can just, use what you find in the search bar up here, just bookmark that, and then you just keep loading that page, or you just refresh it every once in a while and see what else shows up. And you can see that we've got 3 pages of results, which is not an accurate result. I don't know what Bandcamp has done or what Google has done, but the Google search results are not as good as they used to be. But you can see that I've looked at a couple of these in the past, but there are some things on here that you can find. Now, as far as searching for the CC listening party, there aren't any like rules about the dates, so we can just get rid of this, and then we can just use all of the results that are there. I think one thing for the I think personally a better strategy for the listening party is actually to just find NetLabel releases, because then you can just go to the NetLabel page. Because the search is, I think, a somewhat time-consuming process, and you might find something via the search, but then that stuff is not going to be on YouTube necessarily. So I think that subscribing on YouTube to artists and net labels and stuff is probably the best thing to do. And then so like this just popped up in my like newly when you go into YouTube and it like shows you up your subscribed stuff, this just popped up and it's a new release. That's what I think the best strategy is. But obviously, like once you've been a judge, and all 4 of us on here are familiar with the judge process. But once you've done that for a while, you should know some bands that are Creative Commons or some musicians, and then you can just go to their pages and see the YouTube. But yeah, YouTube search is not very good. So I think I wouldn't bother with that, other than like I'm just gonna search this musician. But trying to search the licenses on YouTube is like a recipe for failure. So let's see here. So I can stop sharing that. I see there's some chat stuff going on here. So where are you searching the site Some Rights Reserved, Caleb? You say it's just pulling the
it's just in I'm in Safari and Google.
Well, you can see that, it's going to highlight the Some Rights Reserved here. So all of these are Some Rights Reserved that these are pulling up. So do you want to share your screen and we could, because I wonder if that it's not doing the, if you're using Safari search, if it's like not reading the quotation marks correctly.
Okay, just a second. Well, it seems to be, I'm getting some now. Let me look here. How do I share the screen on Jitsi?
So it's right beside the chat box. So there's it looks like a computer screen.
Okay, I see. All right, yeah, all right. Wow. Sorry for the gay porn. All right, so I'm just kidding. All right, so sort of. I don't even know why I was kidding. All right, so
I definitely see a lot.
all right. Well, I got some here.
All right. So those that you're looking at there, they all seem to say some rights reserved in the
Yeah. Now it's working. It wasn't a minute ago.
Again, like I think that can happen with if like a band has some rights reserved and they've done that accidentally and then they change it. The other thing that can happen.
Okay, I bet that is what happened because it said some rights reserved, and I clicked and I went onto the page, and then it said all rights reserved. So I didn't
The
know.
other thing that can happen is like if they're albums that are showing up here, then like, yeah, that's a direct link to the album. But there's probably one if I scroll here that's going to be a just a artist page. So like here's an artist page. And so right now, or an artist or like a net label or something. And so what can happen is if when this was cached, there was a album that was up that was Creative Commons, but maybe this is a net label that doesn't do all of their stuff Creative Commons, or a band like Lords of the Trident, which the stuff that goes out on their label is not Creative Commons. But then if they did like an acoustic album last year that was like their old material, so that still was Creative Commons. So in that respect, like if the album on the page has changed, you might need to go back into their back catalog to find the stuff that's Creative Commons. So, but if it's if it's a direct link to an album, which you can see in the preview up here, then that should be accurate. But the way that they cache is kind of like, I think that my suspicion is that a lot of bands have been trying to game the Bandcamp search because of the Bandcamp Fridays, when Bandcamp's been giving everything to artists. So they've been like uploading old stuff so that it shows up new because people, look for new stuff on the Bandcamp Fridays. And so I think perhaps that Google has made some changes to try to combat this gaming of the system. That's my guess. But I don't really know why that the search results are not as good as they used to be on Google. But there's still things like the Bandcamp or not Bandcamp. Well, there is. If you look at the Bandcamp Weekly, sometimes those have Creative Commons stuff, and then there's the Jamendo monthly stuff. I don't know if like January ever came out. But those are like just good, quick places to look rather than just trying to do all the, like a blind search. So yeah, unfortunately the Jamendo Best of January is not out yet. But
they had a Creative Commons Best of on Bandcamp, but I can't find it. Where was that at?
I don't remember ever seeing that, but
I think you posted it, right? A best.
No. So they've had a lot of different best ofs, but they're the best of 2020s, but they don't. So what I was sharing was just that there are some Creative Commons albums on there. So like New Focus Recordings shows up a lot on those best ofs. And then like you can, it just depends on the. It's unlikely to ever say Creative Commons on those. You just have to know like, oh yeah, that's a net label, that's Creative Commons, and then it's on one of these best of. So without clicking through on this best experimental, I don't see any on here off the top of my head that
Okay.
at one point I did go through all of these best of 2020 ones. But let's see here. Yeah, they had a whole bunch. Was it classical? I know that some new focus recording stuff showed up in 2020 for sure.
I'm in Creative Commons all releases. I don't know what that means.
You mean just like the tag?
This.
Yeah, that's the tag. So that
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do with the actual license. So those things
Okay.
could be all rights reserved. Yeah, that's just people that when you ask for tags, they put in Creative Commons. Now, I can tell you off the top of my head that C. Ryder and Chris Zabriskie, they both release under CC, and C. Ryder's got a few. Bill Baxter is another being satellites. I mean, the likelihood that someone is like tagging their stuff Creative Commons but isn't Creative Commons is reasonably unlikely, but it doesn't actually tie anything to the release. But so yeah, that's a good place. One of the biggest problems with using this though, the tag, is that most Creative Commons artists do not use the tag. So it's I think that's the bigger risk. But yeah, you could certainly use it. And I think for like for historical purposes, for like searching for content to search on YouTube, this is actually a good resource. But as far as current releases for for the 2022 judging process, I don't think this is a particularly good resource. I mean, you might find something, but it's not going to be a high hit rate. All right, I've got this best of contemporary classical up. Let me see if I can just find. I guess I can look for. Okay, so here's one. So I'll just share my screen again. That's probably the easiest thing to do. So we were talking about the best of the year. So this is the best of 2020, best classical, which was released in early-ish December. And so I was just scrolling through and I see new focus recordings. So there's nothing in here that's going to say Creative Commons or some rights reserved. I just know that everything that New Focus Recordings puts out is CC. I also know that this is a label that is based in New York, and it has absolutely nothing to do with where the artists are based. So that's one downside to using net labels. And again, a downside that doesn't matter for finding videos. But if you're searching for regional artists, then the net label stuff, it's just not useful. You have to go in. I think this particular one, she might be a professor at George Washington, I think. Oh, I clicked on the wrong place. But I clicked on there, but that just went to the thing. So why don't we play some videos? I might see if I'm remembering that correctly. I already pulled this up, so before anybody steals it from me, I'm just going to go ahead and play this Anthisymbol. And then if anybody has any questions about the finding stuff, we can do that in the chat, and maybe after the video plays, I'll have some more interesting things to say. How about that? All right, this is Anthisymbol Catching Wreck, featuring a whole bunch of people that I'll talk about after the after the video plays.
I'm catching wreck in this song player. From the farther reaches of the galaxy, past Krypton, assemble the finest electrons and protons. Alien species be lit before dawn. I travel quasars for some to smoke on. And foreign textiles and fitted Jersey knitters got toward the worthy distance, influencing dirty Richmond slur verbiage in the sentence. A strange dialect who refused to chew burgers and bang. Palisade came with my connect, now I'm plugged with the source. No mercy, no fucking remorse. Heard they checking all V8, we in the tabloids. Now I'm finna rage like I just did some roids and quaffle flames. Red level on your boy, same copper chain, look better on your boy. But without my respect, all that null and void. If you learn to hustle, you never unemployed. Catch a wreck till the break of dawn. And it's song. I'm catching wreck till the break of dawn. And it's song. Shaking and strain, the mind of a prophet, enlightening topics, knowledge of self, pricing rhymes for profit. Time ticking and talking, no longer wondering if. Only question is when. Y'all can fuck with my shit, stunning the bit, running the rich. Yo, run like a bitch, vernacular snake, born a rapper since master the shit. Classically grown, playing the role, bourbon consumed. Not a single regret, lay me the rest in my tomb. Bury me with the bottle, please, and all of my bitches. Draped in fine garments with an assortment of riches. Picture me how you see me, what a beautiful view. It's on the top of excellence, so I do what I do. Choose wisely when you speak to me, respect is expected. I maneuver rap grooves with exceptional methods. Definite with pleasure, guided with grace. Slap to your face, taste the blood of my opponents as I laugh in their face. Fuck em. Till the break of dawn. And it's song. I'm catching wreck till the break of dawn. And it's song.
Hey, half these rap niggas catfish. Don't match the image in a grand picture. Can't take your heat, then get your ass up out your damn kitchen. I'm from a land where we get dap and we dap different. Gotta live and act different, the attract different. I'm that different, born out of gold. Don't know what that is you possess, but it sure isn't so. I see the weaknesses in your flesh, but that's out of my control. And give me the give and go, I'ma go sicko mode. Pass niggas the dro, and gas niggas some mo. For fast figures to flow, no cash niggas get froze. No class bitches get hold, your ass stuck at the toe. No cash, fuck with your soul. Live fast, fuck what you told. Get back, fuck what you owe. This, that, oh fuck we own. Click clack, don't miss the dome. Throw stones, don't hit the throne. You know what the fuck we own. Pass niggas the dro, and gas niggas some mo. Go ask niggas, they know, huh? Giant. Bang, bang, I shot you down. Bang, bang, you hit the ground. Bang, bang, I shot you down. Bang, bang, you hit the ground. Bang, 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 I shot you down. Bang, bang, you hit the ground. Bang, bang, I shot you down. Bang, bang, you hit the ground. Bang, I shot you down.
I'm the sniper on the team, pop you from long distance and shoot my shot up at your queen. And my aim, spot on her, you geotagging all day long, huh? That's how I got the drop on you. Spin the corner like a whirlwind in the pearl bins. I traded with Francois to get low end. My first rhyme theorized through tribes low end. From the belly of hunger that saw no ends. So we gotta make it right. If you cross that little money ain't important, I'll take that as a loss. But look, when you owe, that's living hell. Looking over your shoulders, mentally feeling jail with your eyes closed. To escape what's real, till you hear that trade door open the basic meals. With your eyes closed, then you wake in chills. Remembering cold nights, feeling grateful still.
Catch a wreck till the break of dawn. And it's song. I'm catching wreck till the break of dawn. And it's song.
Right. I said I was going to say who the other artists were, but I think nope. I do have it open. I don't know how to pronounce this. Ndefru, Ndefru. Johnny Siggs. Johnny Siggs has appeared on some Block Sonic releases in the past. Giant, Illa Styles, and DJ Scruff are the featured artists in this Antisymbol video. Anybody there?
Yes.
Okay. It was lots of silence. All right. So there were no questions in the chat about the finding music. So did I answer all of them, or did people have more questions?
I think I would add on though to I'm not sure. I don't think he commented on this, but I know at least in Google when using the Google Dorks, like the site colon, you want to be sure not to put a space after that colon.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just site colon whatever the domain is you're looking at, immediately following that colon.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a good resource on like all of the things that you can do, but Google syntax, and largely I would say the syntax is similar between the different ones. There might be some details. So there's one for Google, just something I picked up quickly. You can do ORs. So the OR combination might actually be useful for stringing together multiple states or multiple cities. So you could do like Nashville or Atlanta if you had the Southeast, which none of you do, but those were just the first cities that came to mind. So I guess you have Europe, Sam. So it could be like Stockholm, and London's a terrible one because like there's Londons everywhere. Although there's like Stockholm, Minnesota, but I don't know. What's a good European city that there's not like other ones of? England's pretty much out because they're everywhere. I don't know, something in like Tallinn. I don't know how many Tallinns there are. Like,
what about Berlin?
There's New Berlin a lot of places, but yeah, Tallinn or something like Eastern European cities. I think those are largely safe. Helsinki, I don't know a lot of Helsinki. Tallinn or Helsinki. That's probably a good one. But yeah, I mean, Berlin. There's a lot of music in Berlin. The thing that you could do there is you can put stuff in quotes. So you could do like a Tallinn, Estonia in quotes, and then Berlin, Germany and I think the comma is ignored, so it just doesn't matter. But one thing you do need to be careful of is once you put it in quotes, the order matters. So you can't put the country before the city because of the way that Bandcamp. I mean, that's a pretty normal way to do it. If you're an American anyway, that's the way we do cities. But yeah, that's the way they are on the Bandcamp site. And then sometimes you don't end up getting, like, there'll just be a country, and sometimes there isn't a city or a place at all on Bandcamp. And if you're an artist and you're watching this, don't do that. We're not going to find you. Like, that's just what it boils down to. Put at least a country on there. Help us out.
I think you had it. That's a great way of narrowing things down. Is after you do the dork, which is it's kind of an on dork. So I'll note that. There's a site called GD, I want to say it's GDHB. I'm looking it up real quick. There's there's a place that it's more so used for security purposes, but nonetheless, okay, yeah. GHDB, it's the Google hacking database, and you'll find 2 tons of dorks that you can use in there. But using quotes, so like do something like, some rights reserved in quotes, and then doing an operator. That's where you put in like and then in quotes again Germany, and then you could even do and in quotes again Berlin.
Yeah. And one thing, I didn't think of this when I was saying it, but I was looking at that Refine Web Searches article I linked, and there's the minus. So if you do know that like there's a London, Ontario, and so again, using the Europe example, so you want to look stuff in London, England, it's unlikely that there's going to be a lot of stuff released in London, England that references Ontario. It's certainly not impossible, but you can just put that minus Ontario in there and get rid of a large amount of false positives on that. So yeah, there's a lot that you can do. I guess other than, well, I mean, even the like monthly Jamendo best, I mean, like there's not a like there's no smoking gun. You just have to look. That's just the way that it is. And it's I did send a message to Free Music Archive and ask them to put the regions or the dates on their charts, because I think that would be really useful for us, and I don't think that would be a hard thing for them to do. But I need to talk some more with them. They didn't really see much. So and the thing is, they may be like re-architecting the whole site. So like, why, put the effort into like one page if they're just going to redo the whole site? I don't know, but yeah, that would be useful if they did that. I guess I should send the same message essentially to Jamendo on their monthly. Because on the Jamendo playlist, like if you have to go to the artist page to see their location, but if they just put that location on that on their playlist, then that would help us out a lot. And I think that would be minimal effort for them. Now, whether or not they want to do that for UI purposes or something, that's a different story. But I didn't really get a lot of feedback from Free Music Archive other than just that they weren't interested. So that was a bit disappointing. But anyway, I don't know who wants to go next.
I'm gonna hold off for. Well, I'm gonna hold off for now, just because I'm on mobile, and it's just really annoying, kind of doing the videos on mobile. But I'll try to switch to back to my computer here in a bit.
All right, Sam, you got anything for us?
Yes.
Sweet. Sam is muted. I don't know if he means to be muted. Oh. Sweet. Anything to say about that one, Sam?
I just end up feeling very peaceful when I listen to it.
Sweet.
It's off of a Eastern European compilation that I found a few weeks ago that was released on a net label in Bulgaria called Mahorka. They do a bunch of experimental and electronic stuff, and they release like a 32 track like compilation, and there's some really good stuff. I'll post the link in the chat for it. Yeah, I'm very impressed by this album. I have no idea how to pronounce the song title because I think it's in Russian. But
Yeah, it's certainly in Cyrillic. But I don't know what languages use Cyrillic other than Russian, but I think some do. All right, Caleb, what you got for us? Sweet.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, good. I figured out what was going on. That was fun.
Awesome. So that played like the first 2 tracks and then part of track 3 off that album, right, Caleb?
Yeah.
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 Sweet. Anything else to? I don't know if you said this, but in the chat you mentioned there was a 12-page comic that came with that release. So anything
Yeah.
else you want to say about that?
Oh, it just looked really cool. I like how
Sweet.
they did how you could read a comic while you were vibing out on the Moog equipment.
So is it synced up so that you're supposed to read it with the like change the page, and that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool idea, I think.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going to assume that I'm up next here because Al hasn't changed locations there. So this is, I think, an older track from Lorenzo's music called "With You," but this is a new video released January 28th. It's the animated noir video.
Al, your pad looks cool. Very cool pad. Okay.
All right. Whoop. It didn't like it. I think because I clicked on this from an email, and I think it doesn't like the whole like email string thing going on in here. So what I'm going to do is go back to their page and then see if I can find this video. Here we go. It's one of the new ones. So this, I'm going to cancel that. Although I probably could have just deleted everything, but this seems like the quicker resolution.
I think I went too fast. Looking back, I saw time that I wanted back. I could have said, but I came with you. But I had to try with you. But I had to try. It may not have been right, but that's the chance I took. Who knows what would happen if I made you look with you. But I had to try. With you, I check that one window when I go driving by. I know it's not that simple to think it's still your light on. I think I went too fast. Set it off, maybe said too much time that I wanted back. Was it rash? I could have said, but I can't with you. But I had to try. But I had to try.
All right.
That was pretty cool. something going on there.
They have the lyrics up on the YouTube, and they seem to have changed their license to a more a less restrictive license. I think probably just so it says Creative Commons on YouTube. So they're one of the few ones that actually have the one Creative Commons license that YouTube allows. So that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
So I have to go in 13 minutes. So
Okay.
I guess before we move on to Sam's track, we should see if we had any additional questions about finding music, which I can answer before I have to go.
I have another question that doesn't have to do with that. When I end this recording, it'll automatically go to Dropbox. Is this what's going to happen?
What should have happened when you press record is that it like pops up and then it has you log into Dropbox. Like if you have all your like your JavaScript and stuff like disabled, then I don't know if that would have happened, but
I don't know if that happened or not.
Yeah. So, well, if it didn't get recorded, it didn't get recorded. You might try using a different browser next time.
Yeah, maybe I'll try the Google browser, Chrome. I don't know.
But yeah, it should pop up.
Well, if it's recording, where the hell is it recording to? It is recording.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a bug where like that pops up when that sound happens when it's when you press the button. But then if it's not able to access the JavaScript, it needs to actually connect with Dropbox. Then what browser do you use?
Safari.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah, I don't know anything about Safari other than I haven't used it like ever because it's terrible. So
the Internet Explorer of Mac.
Well, now the Internet Explorer doesn't exist.
I had never heard that before.
Pretty much the. But yeah, I use Chrome for these videos. I don't know why that I did that. I think that it seems to connect better with the microphone than Firefox does. But I use Firefox for pretty much
I like Firefox,
everything.
I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, if you've got Chrome, I know that works for me. So you might try that one. But hopefully it worked and it just kind of magically did it.
I've got another video. Who else has a video? Does Al have one? He hasn't played. Or is he just hanging? I can't hear you, Al.
You're muted, Al.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll jump back in, or if by the time, if you guys do 2 more videos, by the time you get to that, I'll probably have jumped out and back in.
Okay.
Hey, one thing that we should be aware of. I don't know when exactly we started, but at an hour, it'll cut the recording. So I kind of hate when that happens in the middle of a song. So I don't know if you want to stop the recording now, Caleb.
Okay.
And then start it back again. Okay.
How do I just push stop recording probably, huh? All right.
Yeah, it's above share YouTube video, which
I got
again,
it,
a terrible place in the UI for that to be, but too easy to
Stop
accidentally do that.
recording, and it says confirm.